Hey gang, what's up? We are back for part 5 of our Conan playthrough. We are going to take on the Midnight Raid. I do not really know the story behind this section of the game. I know that Conan rolls up to an area and messes up a bunch of ships, lights them on fire, and then sails away. I probably should watch the cutscenes, but like I said, the story is pretty bad, so I'm gonna opt out again. We also have a new ability. So after defeating the giant elephant creature, we have gotten a piece of our armor back. And we now have this sort of meteor shower magic ability, which is actually really useful in large groups of enemies. On cast, so right when you cast it, you end up... that is not what I wanted to do at all. So as you saw in our sand dragon attempts, some of the jumping in this game is really crappy. Sometimes it eats your jumps, sometimes it allows you actually to complete jumps after you've left the platform. Yeah, jumping is inconsistent and frustrating in this game, to say the least. We're going to get this treasure chest down here before we continue on to the Rune Triumvirate. This one is for the Song of Death. So we now have a longer Song of Death meter, which means that we have more Song of Death to play with, which means we can carve people up much easier and for much long, or not much easier, but for a much longer time once we've filled the meter. One thing that I had mentioned before was that you have invincibility frames upon casting of any magical ability that we've gotten from our armor. This is universal throughout the 4 abilities that you end up getting. The other 2 abilities are a sort of crow storm, which helps with a lot of melee combat, attacking enemies as you attack them, and sort of just milling about and destroying everything in their path. And also a void. You create a tear in the very fabric of reality, which is super cool, and I'm a big fan of. So these guys are still as easy to defeat as possible, or parry as possible. Say goodnight. These tents are filled with tons of dudes. We can destroy them very quickly, very easily, and they also respawn. So now that we do have some specific abilities, that we want to use, specifically the Stygian Skewer, who doesn't want to use this frickin' move. I love it. Let's keep on using it. It also helps a ton with activating the Song of Death, which is really cool. This just makes the fights a lot easier. Swing. Plus it looks really cool. Like I was saying, these tents, they keep spawning dudes, so if you do want runes to come out, or you do want, you are fighting for those extra runes for your abilities, this is a pretty decent place. That guy just ran into, or he shot his projectile into the fire, those green projectiles these guys shoot, and he just blew himself up. That's awesome. So this is Mitra's hand. It creates a shockwave. It's actually a pretty decent ability, and we're going to be using it not a ton, but just enough. And this, dude, this move is so good. So I would say that in general, the two-handed weapon is probably the most difficult to keep the Song of Death going on. The hits are so few and far between, which is unfortunate, because it is like by far and away my favorite way to enter into combat. But the like straight DPS of, let's just get this captain guy out of the way. So if you come over this way quick enough, oh, I guess you do have to, never mind. So after we get past the first, you can approach these either way. Oh, we just want some fire. So you can approach either this right side door or the left side door. Either way, doesn't. Oh, sweet Christmas. You can approach either. Oh my gosh, all I want to do is... Okay, so I can't go to this fire anywhere. It wants me to pick up these frickin' things. Okay. That's always kind of annoying. If there's weapons lying in front of things and you want to light them on fire, it is really difficult. Okay. So we're lighting these guys on fire. Yeah, we can't trigger that yet. We need to go... Oh, no, I guess it looks like you do have to defeat the first one. Cool. So I learned something today. Let's get rid of this. So we do have to go to the right side first. From there, we're going to light a ship on fire. Pretty fun. Mess up some dudes on the way. This is actually, I believe this is the shortest mission of the game. It should take us probably less than... I can't say it'll take us more than 15 minutes. We grind through it fairly quickly. And I think we forget to burn this one? We did. Let's do that now. Or let's just pick up 1,000 of these things. I don't even know if anything's in this one worth having. So yeah, this is a super short mission. All you need to do is light a bunch of cargo on these ships on fire. You just need to engulf them in flames, which is pretty cool. We almost have enough red runes for our next ability, which is the Captain's Rush, I believe that's what it's called. Let's check very quickly. Captain's Rush. Cool, so there are 2 abilities that we're going to get. We're probably not going to get Giant's Crush. I believe that our red runes are, well, better spent in other abilities, but Captain's Rush is useful later in the next level that we're going to get to when we get to... or 2 levels from now, excuse me. These enemies have spiked shields, and because the attacks of the 2-handed weapons are so slow, they are capable of popping the spikes on their shield so that when you do end up hitting them, you take damage. With the Captain's Rush, it's a slow attack that winds up and staggers, so that when you do... oh, slow your roll. Let's see how many of these guys we can knock off the edge. Oh, 2. Nice.
Feel the cut of my steel.
So, yeah, so what you want to do is you want to use the Captain's Rush to essentially force them to put the spikes in their shields away. They expect an attack, but the windup on Captain's Rush is so long that they don't ever end up attacking. So it's this. That's Captain's Rush. So we'll try to use it a couple of times here, see if it helps us at all take out these enemies. It may or may not. So it has a fairly large horizontal hitbox, which is pretty dang cool. Let's see if we can just throw this guy off the edge. That's awesome.
Die, you cur.
Cool. So you saw a little bit of the Captain's Rush. It is pretty decent for like all stages of the game. Some enemies recover from the stun a little bit more quickly. We're just going to try to use Mitra's Hand a bunch here, just because it's a really good crowd clearing tool. I believe we can just grab this. I think it's just these 2 that we have to worry about here as we light our cargo on fire. I believe it's this one, and there is one in the middle. Let's go see if there's anything on the other side. I'm pretty sure there's not, but just to make sure, I think maybe there's just a couple of enemies down here. Okay, cool. So there's 120 red runes down here, which is great. And actually, where are we at on our runes? We're at almost 300. Okay. Out of our way, barrels. We're not a big fan of barrels around here. Okay. So I think we will end up losing our... we end up losing our 2-handed weapon, which is a little bit frustrating. if you walk away from the cargo, you end up
Now for the
just
other
triggering
ship.
the cutscene and jumping off and then leaving your weapon behind, which is fine. We can just, you know, this will be a fine time to use this. So that shows the iframes. That guy should have attacked us
To scratch like a child.
in the middle of our casting. He didn't. And now they're all dead, except for maybe one. Oh no, they're all dead. Cool. That cost 2 armor power slots, 2 gauges. I don't know. Let's just call them power slots. While Stone Prison uses only 1. I've noticed that that ability, sort of the meteor call, it can really mess up. Let's see if we can. I was gonna say, let's see if we can get a bunch of guys with. See, that guy's a sniper. I think also I've noticed that these guys, the projectiles that they cast, they actually, yeah, they seek. They are heat-seeking missiles, which is really freaking annoying. But let's bop all these guys out of the way. Oh, that was great. That was awesome. Cool. So that was it. Yeah, we got rid of all of them in one fell swoop. So that's why Stone Prison is so good. You can stun like as many enemies as you can hit with it, which is incredible. The cast range is fairly large. It goes out in a big cone, which is great. This guy blows a bunch of fire at us. I actually don't know at what point you can dodge him. But it doesn't matter because he's dead. Actually, how much do these guys give us? We have 560. And then... Okay, so those guys give us 40 runes. Not bad. But it is always nice to have a little magic on, or to have a little armor power on hand. Just allows for you to... Oh, what? Gosh, I love that move. Oh, and we skewered him. And there's somebody's body up there. How did it even get up there? It's glitching out. Oh, dude, I love this game. Let's see if we can get this guy on the... oh. Oh. Where did he go? Where did his body go? Oh, we did get him. Oh, I love this game. I love it. Cool, so we've gone to great lengths to Stygian skewer everybody. We are going to get that guy. I don't really want to kill him, or, you know, fight him. He takes a fairly long time, and it's not all that much fun. Oof, look at all that magic. Oh, shoot, when you kill somebody with Mithra's Hand, it takes... Wow. That's awesome. Okay, so I gotta kill more guys like that. You get a ton of armor runes from that. So yeah, that's another one of the perks of mastering an ability. You can, well, you saw, you get a ton of extra runes for that. Actually, let's check it out. So let's see what our extra rune benefits are. So if we kill an enemy, we've been doing this actually since the very beginning. If we kill enemies with Uppercut, we get 5 health runes, which is great. Outlaw's Hilt, we have, excuse me, we haven't gotten. So Gem Cutter, that is the kick to the nuts. We'll get 2 extra health if we kill somebody. King's Execution, because we're destroying everything everywhere with this move. It's probably a good thing that they didn't give this any benefits. Otherwise, it would be crazy overleveled. Stygian Skewer Fling, cool. So if we kill somebody with that, Mithra's Hand 10 bonus. I guess we have to work for the rest of them. Cool. The other, oh, and that's just health, so we don't really need that right now. Cool. So we now have our next, excuse me. We now have our next ship. We're gonna have the same thing as before. Guys up there are gonna be shooting at us. We don't particularly care. We're just going to hit them with Mithra's Hand and see. Oh, look at that. So the reason that I'm doing this actually is, while I don't need a ton of magic, in this level, it is always kind of nice to have a large chunk of armor power available. So you're gonna find me trying to prioritize those kinds of attacks often. So there's our Captain's Rush, very cool ability, useful. So that's a lie. I don't think it's that great. Ooh. Oh, that was awesome. We just got so many guys with that. That was super cool. I've actually never hit that many people with this move before. That was great. Okay, let's just... You're annoying. And we can just King's Execution you. That's no problem whatsoever. And we get a little extra health from you. Perfect. So we're going to run into our very first bit of reinforced or heavily fortified doors. Instead of kicking them once, you kick them an extra 2 times. You kick them not once, not twice, but 3 times. So what we want to do here, so there is one bit of cargo here. There is another bit of cargo there. I'm not sure how to trigger it, how to get it going in flame. Whoop. So, is it on fire? I don't think so. We're gonna try to light it. Oh, no, it is. Cool. So you'll see how this bit of the wall is on fire. That means that it has been lit on fire, which is great. Man, we do not have... Wow, it takes a lot. So we're gonna pick up this dude's 2-handed weapon and carve that guy up. We want as many red runes as possible. Why not, you know? Cool. So Conan is invincible to fire. He doesn't even care about it. It's like, whatever. It's fire. I'm a barbarian. Is it on? I can't. Okay, so I do think so. That's actually a pretty decent speedrun strat. Making sure that so you don't have to go into the other hold on the other side of the ship. But let's just confirm that it actually worked. Because then all we have to do is light this middle one on fire. I think it worked, but I'm not really sure why it worked. Maybe that's not important. Yeah, that's awesome. So we don't really need to fight the 2 guys that are down there. They're just there. They're gonna light on fire and go down with the ship. Who cares? That's great. So that's an awesome little speedrun strat that I need to keep in mind, so I don't have to spend all that time kicking in that door and lighting that stuff on fire. Cool. So that is the end of the Midnight Raid. Don't know really why we ended up doing this, and then we watched the same cutscene again because they're lazy. And that's it. That is the end of the mission. Yay. Okay, so that was part 5. Stay tuned as we move on to part 6 of our Conan adventure. Thanks, gang. We'll see you next time.